Good quality starting pitching, it's been late. And when you're having these type of losses late, it starts to drag on the team. But most importantly, when you're going through a stretch, you need a starter to just pick up the slack. Maybe have a complete game. You want to see that. But most importantly for me too, offense has to start hitting the ball. String those at-bats together, because we've seen an offense that has struggled in a lot of those situational hitting. And in order to win a series here in Milwaukee, where this team plays extremely well, they're going to have to string some at-bats together with quality pitching.
Yeah, hopefully there's a little carryover from the ninth inning last night. They are due offensively to break out. It's been a couple of weeks since they put up a crooked number. Today's starter is John Gray. Boy, he's on a roll against Wade Miley. Now, the Rockies haven't seen Wade Miley in a few years. He's been hurt most of this year. When he's been healthy, he has pitched very well. More on Miley in a moment. John Gray's last 3 starts, 21 2/3 innings. He's given up 10 hits.
He's been great, and last start in St. Louis continued to pound the strike zone. We've noticed something. The strikeout percentages are down, but his ground ball rate is way up. He's pitching to contact, commanding the strike zone with the fastball. He's setting up his secondary pitches. When you see the 7 1/3, you kind of look at it in this way. There's one moment for John in the 7th inning where you saw him let his guard down. We don't want to see that today in the 7th, 8th inning if he does get there. Over the last 3 starts, a 2-0 record, the 1.66 ERA, strikeout rate, as I mentioned, is down, but he's keeping the ball located in the bottom of the zone, and that's why you're seeing those numbers, a 137 opponent batting average. He's in a good spot right now.
He's in a great spot, and he's more confident, I think, than he's been since late last year when he went on that run, 13 straight starts where you're allowed 3 runs or less. Wade Miley's pitching well, and we'll discuss him in a short bit. We have to come back and talk about the Rockies shortstop. He was a big bright spot yesterday. He's been a bright spot since he came up a little more than 2.5 years ago. We'll talk about the Rockies All-Star in a moment in front of first pitch.
Afternoon, and that's exactly what the Rockies are trying to do today. They're trying to get hot, follow Trevor Story's lead, Now, we all know it has been a tough week for the Colorado Rockies. They have suffered some brutal losses, but talking to Trevor Story, he is confident that this team is going to be able to get right back on track.
It's definitely not something that we want to happen. Some tough losses lately for sure. But this is a very tough team, and I think that's one of our best attributes, if not the best. So I think these the next week of games is huge for us, and determining how we we respond to that, and hopefully it'll serve us well, knowing that we can come back from something like that.
Time now for your Coors Light refreshing finish. As I mentioned, Trevor Story has been so good against the Milwaukee Brewers. This season, he has had 6 home runs in 7 games, making him just the second player in Major League history to go yard 6 times in at least 7 or fewer games against the Brewers. So the Rockies certainly looking to follow his lead, but it's going to take more than just him if this Rockies team wants to avoid the sweep here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. We'll find out next if they've got what it takes. So stick around and come on back to Milwaukee, Wisconsin as Rockies and Brewers head into Game 3.
In the parking lot before making my way inside. I mean, is there a better pre-game ritual than a little Jenga and maybe a brat?
Tailgating, brats, and Jenga.
And Jenga.
It's the best thing ever.
Slice of Americana. The Rockies, Game 3 against the Brewers, trying to salvage one out of this 3-game set and head home to get ready to take on Clint Hurdle and the Pittsburgh Pirates. There's Charlie Blackmon, and he is leading off this afternoon. Here's Buddy Black's Southwest batting order. It will feature DJ LeMahieu batting second. Nolan's batting third. Trevor Story, he had the 2 two-run home runs yesterday and 6 bombs this year against Milwaukee, as Taylor was telling you. He'll bat cleanup. Cargo historically has swung the bat well against Wade Miley. Ian Desmond will follow. Pat Baleka getting a start at first base, so you notice that Desmond's in left field. Tom Murphy will catch and bat 8th in front of John Gray. Well, the Rockies haven't seen Wade Miley in a while. Last time was 2014 when he was pitching for Arizona. Last year, he had a largely forgettable season with Baltimore. He signed as a minor league free agent, had a groin injury in the spring, was on the DL, came back, and then had to go on the DL for an extended period of time with an oblique strain. After that, it's been all good.
It's been really good. And if you go back to his time facing the Rockies since 2014, he's 7-2 against the Rocks with a 3.79. But for him this season, compared to last year, he has scrapped the slider. You see it's down to 4%. It's primarily fastball, cut fastball. And in the last start against the Dodgers, at Dodger Stadium, 7 innings pitched, only 2 hits. That's good, Drew. 5 strikeouts and 2 walks. He still has yet to give up a home run this season in 29 and the 3rd inning.
He hasn't pitched much at home. Just 6 innings at Miller Park this year, and he's not given up a run. He's coming off that great performance at Dodger Stadium. He works exceptionally quick. I mean, he's Chad Bettis quick. He gets on the rubber, catches the baseball on the return throw from his catcher, and he's ready to go again. The only reason he hasn't thrown a pitch here is Charlie smartly stepped out on him. And on 3 pitches, he strikes out Blackman. 2 hard sinkers in, well located. Let's take a look at the Milwaukee Brewers defensively. Ryan Braun gets a start in left field. He hit the ball well yesterday. Yelich is in center for the 10th time this year. Eric Thames is in right. Moustakis is at third. Orlando Arcia is getting a start at short for the first time in the series. Eric Kratz, part-time pitcher, part-time catchers behind the plate. Travis Shaw at first has started at 3 different infield positions in 3 days. Friday night it was second. Yesterday it was third. And today it's over on the right side. 4 pitches, 4 strikes as LeMahieu takes inside ball 1, 1-1.
These are 2 interesting stats for you, Drew. The Brewers are 4-13 on Sundays. The Rockies are 5-12 on Sundays.
Something's got to give. Taylor made reference to the warmth today. It's 87 degrees. It's quite humid. This is the warmest day the Rockies have seen on this road trip. But having said that, it's gorgeous. And this is sharply hit. Wow, that came up and almost hit the chin of Moustakis. He's got no play. It was at the chest or the chin, and he's kind of trying to walk it off. That was a missile. It'll go as a base hit naturally.
Well, DJ gets an off-speed pitch up in the zone, and it must have hit somewhere on the edge of the grass or the dirt because it pops up in between hop. It just catches Moustakis almost off the collarbone. It's scary.
So with 1 out and 1 on, as that came off the bat at 98 miles an hour, here's Nolan. It's been a quiet week for the Rockies offense. Nolan hitting just 174 on the trip. Charlie, who went down swinging a moment ago, 3 for 27. That's one way to look at that. A bunch of guys fixing to get hot.
At the same time, the Rockies have faced really good pitching this week. You've seen some arms. We've seen some really good arms from St. Louis to yesterday with Freddie Peralta.
Well, the conversation in St. Louis as the Rockies departed there was how impressed they were with the number of arms, not just that started, but kind of rolled out of the bullpen for the Cardinals. And the conversation a little bit in the clubhouse, we initiated it this morning with guys like Charlie Blackmon, Carlos Gonzalez, Gerardo Parra. What was with Freddie Peralta? Why in 2 starts is he so hard to hit? And you learned some things.
I learned is just visually, it's what we kind of mentioned yesterday, that Peralta's cutter, it's a natural cut to it, and visually the ball just has extra life and carry. And because Peralta's effectively wild, it forced the hitters to be on edge. It's basically like you're facing Kenley Jansen as a starter for 6 straight innings.
Well, it's not just the Rockies. He just hasn't given up many hits. Change up, and it swung on a miss. 2 strikes on Nolan.
Well, you're hoping the Rockies will get back on track against Wade Miley. As a team, the Rockies are hitting .273 against lefties. That's best in baseball.
Well, they have 6 guys that are hitting at least .299 against lefties. Nolan's hitting well over .400 against left-handed pitching. kind of ridiculous. Against lefties, he's 53 for 128, 14 home runs. That's a .414 average. And Nolan chases. 2 outs.
Second strikeout of the day for Wade Miley. Wade Miley comes into today's with a strikeout per 9 below a 6. So 2 strikeouts in the first inning is away from his character.
So here's Story. He broke up the no-hitter with a 2-run home run against Peralta in the 4th yesterday. And then he hit a 9th inning 2-run home run. 6 games against Milwaukee this year, 6 home runs. Unfortunately, the individual success has not translated to team success. The Rockies are 1-5 against the Brew Crew in 2018.
Let's take a look at yesterday's home runs for Trevor Story. StatCast AI is powered by AWS. He's the one that hit the treehouse in right center field at 108 miles an hour off the bat, 435 feet. And then he spun another one around, driving it into left center, 109 miles an hour. The 19-degree launch angle is ridiculous.
He's a guy I would think in the dugout or in the clubhouse in the hitters meeting earlier. You talk about, you got to get him out of rhythm. You got to step out on him a little bit. You can't just let him catch the baseball and get right back on the rubber. Wouldn't you agree?
Reminds me of Cliff Lee. Cliff Lee, Mark Burley used to pitch like this. And it's effective. When you have a pitcher whose fastball averages about 91 miles an hour, lefty, that's not high velocity in this day and age. So how do you get hitters off balance? Well, you speed up the tempo. And with the cut fastball in, with the changeup mix away, now you have the hitters in a rocking chair. You have them caught in between. I don't know if I want to look in for fastball, if I want to sit middle away, and then when you're adding that tempo to it, Drew, it just forces the hitter to swing at pitches they're uncomfortable at swinging.
2-2 on Story, who's seeing Miley for the first time in his career. 2 outs, DJ at first. Out of play. .31-year-old Wade Miley, 8-15 with a .561 ERA last year with Baltimore. And now it's full. DJ will be moving. Right-handed batter, so Shaw at first will still hold him on.
These are tough at bats in the first inning as you're watching a pitcher really commanding the strike zone. Miley already has good command of the changeup, the cutter in, and the slider. Kind of, these are one of those at bats where you don't want to overthink it. You almost have to cover the entire plate and not look to do too much damage unless you get a pitch in the middle portion.
And Wade Miley strikes out the side. LeMahieu left at first. John Gray's turn when we come back. Brewers this afternoon for the 4th time in his career. He's not had great success against Milwaukee. Looking to turn the tables on that little storyline. 21st start of the season for John, and his last 3, as we were discussing, Spilly, have been just marvelous.
They have been. Rockies Choose Go starting pitcher preview is brought to you by Conoco. And for John, we're paying attention to the fastball, where it's located. So important for him to establish fastball command down in the strike zone. The slider is his best wipeout pitch. But since returning from the minor leagues, he's been able to command that fastball low, which we've seen a big increase in ground balls. Almost about a 20% increase in ground balls since coming back from the minor leagues.
Well, Christian Yelich has been not only the toughest out in Milwaukee's lineup this week, he's probably been one of the 2 or 3 toughest outs in the National League over the last few weeks. Getting darn close to 500 since the All-Star break. His .326 average, as you can see, leading the National League in front of Freddie Freeman and a guy we'll see tomorrow, Corey Dickerson. See the former Brewer, Scooter Gennett, on that list. This ball is hit pretty well left center field, and the leap and the catch is made out there by Desmond. Little first base, little left field, does not matter. How about that play by a guy who has not actually been in the outfield in quite some time?
Well, the Broncos just started training camp, and Ian Desmond almost acts like the free safety. Blackman's giving chase, but look at where Desmond is the one that reads it last.
And you know what? Like a free safety, Spilly, I love your analogy. The fearlessness to not worry about Blackman, who's 6'3" and 220, running in his direction.
That's a great play.
That is a great play. Sometimes we tend to lend ourselves to hyperbole in broadcasting. That was a great play. 2-0 on Eric Thames, the star of Friday night, with the walk-off home run. A 3-run shot in the 9th inning against Wade Davis. This is only hit in the series. And John goes slider. I love it. 2-0, and it's 2-1. How about that catch by a guy who's not been in the outfield since July the 4th? Fastball blew him away. 2-2.
It's just a way to settle John Gray down too with your defense. That's a double, if not maybe even more if he hits it just an extra grain.
And he's going to get another opportunity here. This one will be a mite bit easier. 2 outs. Isn't that funny? The old baseball cliche. Does that ever apply? You come into a ball game, the baseball finds you. For Dez, he hadn't been in left field in a month or so, and the baseball has found him twice to begin the ball game. Here's the Southwest batting order for Craig Counsell this afternoon. Moose, Mike Moustakas, recently at Kansas City. He'll bat 3rd. Then it's Shaw, Braun, Scope, Kratz, and Arcia. 1 through 8. John's fastball tails away. Ball 1 on Moustakas. Not in the starting lineup yesterday. And this is popped up behind home plate. Murphy has it. And with a little help from that left fielder now, Ian Desmond, it's a good start for John Gray. 10 pitches, 1, 2, 3. Toyota Tundra in your hometown Toyota stores and by Southwest Airlines. Low fares, no hidden fees. That's transparency. We apologize for the play-by-play underneath of Ryan's billboards while we do the billboards, but
I love Jenga.
those folks are just missing the game.
Knock it over.
Genga with cold ones early in the afternoon. Here's Cargo. Curveball at the bottom of the zone for a strike. Cargo 8 for 21 lifetime against Wade Miley. I talked to him in the clubhouse today and said it's been a while since I saw Miley. He said, yeah, but I've hit him well. Guys, remember. 1-1. Cargo's in a real good place offensively. Yesterday, 1 for 3. He scored 2 runs. He also walked in that game. 292 average for Cargo. 2-1. In fact, since July the 6th, Cargo's hit 356, which is the 4th best average in the league. And he's also tied for 5th most home runs in that time frame with 7. 20 RBIs, you get it. He's been playing like the Cargo we have witnessed so frequently through the last decade. 3-1. And that cutter's high. The other thing, it just always works hand in hand, Spilly. When guys start seeing the ball well, their walk rate goes up.
It happens every time. We saw the same thing happen with Ian Desmond.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great example. And here is Desi right now. Desi had a double in the 9th inning last night. He had an absolute missile off the center field wall. Short hop the center field wall to be accurate, but one of those line shots that didn't get very high off the ground. Christian Yelich was out there. He had no shot. This is up the middle, and wow, that's a safe, not on the transfer. I thought the second base umpire, Trip Gibson, was going to say that was on the exchange and give an out call. It was a great job by Scope to get to the baseball and flip it to Arcia.
I still don't think Arcia even touched the bag, so
maybe that's what it was.
Craig Counsell and Pat Murphy having a quick discussion. He never touched second base.
So this will be an infield hit, and there's 2 on, nobody out.
And this is a good example of why hitters love to hit in Milwaukee. And that ball's not hit well. Oh, he does touch second base.
He does, but the ball popped out as he did that. That was weird.
That ball almost sneaks through, and that's not hit well.
It's a good call by Trip Gibson. Hung with that. So 2 on, Pat Valake at the plate, and Pat bunts it, and he gets it down. Miley is trying desperately to catch that ball in the air. So second and third, 1 out, and that'll bring up Murphy.
This could be a big at bat for Tom Murphy.
Huge at bat.
It's been a struggle for him, to put it lightly.
It's a huge at bat because with a
pitcher on deck,
with the pitcher on deck, if you get it in play in the middle of the diamond on the ground, certainly if you hit the ball with reasonable depth to the outfield, you're going to get that first run home. Problem for Murph lately is he's had a lot of empty at bats, a lot of strikeouts. Trying to snap an 0 for 17. It's been a rough go for the catchers over the last several weeks. They're combined 6 for 54 since the All-Star break. That's a strike. They have changed that call at second on the Desmond ground ball to a fielder's choice E6. The error on the drop by Arcia. So no hit for Desmond.
That might change. That's not a pretty.
That's not a routine
play.
Now you get that sick feeling, Spill. You know when you're scuffling a little bit, and then. Well, here's the play again. I was referencing Murphy now being in a 1-2 count.
That's not a routine play. But whenever this is his home field, Wade Miley's
has a sub-2 ERA. They're trying to protect the pitcher.
And Murphy goes down on a pitch down and in. All 3 pitches down and in, and now you leave it to John Gray. So the Rockies' issues, at least this week, with runners in scoring position continue. Coming into this week, they had been quite good.
For the Win is brought to you by Pizza Ranch. Happy flight. The Rockies are 24-19 this season versus left-handed hitters. I mentioned earlier, 273 batting average, first in baseball.
Let's see if John can help his own cause. Go German Marquez here, right?
That'd be great. We saw Jacob deGrom the other night lose a game 2-1. The only RBI was deGrom driving in some runs, or 1 run.
And this is a bouncer toward Moustakas, and he'll throw out Gray. So the Rockies waste an opportunity. They had 2 in scoring position. We'll go to the bottom of the 2nd inning, no score.
Dahl recalled today from AAA as Antonio Zenzatella has been placed on the 10-day disabled list. I'll copy news and notes. Shows us that Antonio placed on the 10-day DL with right shoulder inflammation. Talking with Bud Black, he said it came up in his side session this week. He thinks it might be accredited to the high-intensity game that Antonio pitched in St. Louis. David Dahl had been on the disabled list for a large part of the summer with a broken foot, had been brought off of that in July 27th, so he's been down in AAA getting a lot of at-bats. That's something the Rockies really wanted to see out of him, to be able to go down to AAA, get consistent at-bats before bringing him back up here so he can be ready to contribute. Drew.
And there's Dahl, and there's Chad Bettis, who certainly would be a candidate to take his spot in the rotation next week. That would come up on Tuesday. No official word yet. Travis Shaw is going to lead it off against John Gray. That is official here in the bottom of the 2nd inning. Shaw hit the grand slam in the 1st yesterday. Part of a 6-run first against Tyler Anderson. First home run he hit left on left this year of his 21. That's at the knees for a strike. Today getting the start at first base, just his 2nd start at first this year. Rocky shift 3 to the right side. Breaking ball is in the air to deep right center field, and this one's going to leave the yard. Hanging curveball, 1-0 Milwaukee. John left a breaking ball up in the 1st inning to Yelich when he was ahead 0-2, and it took a great catch by Desmond to prevent extra bases. That one was just sitting up there saying, hit me.
22nd home run now for Travis Shaw. And it's a pretty easy pitch to hit out of the yard. It's sitting right center cut and up. Not a lot of velocity behind it or bite. That acts as basically a BP fastball.
That'll bring up Ryan Braun. He had a base hit to drive in a run in the first inning yesterday, and later in the ball game homered. This is wide of third.
Rockies now 21-38 on the season when the opponent scores first. The Brewers, very good front running team, 50-20 when they score first.
Well, you have to make it 50-21, that's all. It's the one strike pitch to Braun, that's low.
It just goes back to the Rockies in those situations, situational hitting where you have an opportunity to score a run, and they've missed out so many times this road trip.
This will be a tough play, and Valleca can't come up with it, and Braun has himself a base hit.
Inside out swing by Ryan Braun. Hits hard in front of home plate. Typically you won't see a ball with that much velocity after it hits in front of home plate. That pitch beat Ryan Braun to the spot.
Jonathan Scope, his first hit in a Brewers uniform in that 6-run first yesterday. Swung on and missed. Scope's just 1 for 16 so far in a Milwaukee uniform. The interesting thing is when he left Baltimore, his final week in an Oriole uniform, he was the American League Player of the Week. Braun still a threat to run.
7 stolen bases on the season. He's been caught 3 times.
Has worked on that his last few starts, controlling the running game. Still pretty slow to the plate. This should be 2. There's 1, and that's an easy double play. Hit that hard on 1 hop. 6-4-3, 2 gone. And that'll bring up the catcher, Eric Kratz. Fans, join in on the conversation. We invite you each and every day. Send us your comments, your questions. Use Twitter and include the hashtag ToyotaTalk.
Eric Kratz is a massive
Big human
catcher. 6'4", 250 pounds, but I'm saying he's bigger than that.
He pops his first pitch up. Pat Valleca will grab it in the inning. Travis Shaw hits a home run to deep right center, and the Brewers lead 1-0 as we go to the 3rd. Charlie will lead things off.
MLB.tv now available at a lower price for $59.99. Watch every out-of-market regular season game, plus get a free subscription to MLB At Bat Premium. Blackouts and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv to take advantage of this special offer.
It's a little early for ribs, but those
look good.
I think in a little while are going to look really tasty. This is a hanger from Miley, and Charlie hits it in the air to left center. It's caught out there by Braun. So Charlie trying to extract himself from a week-long slump. Now 3 for 29, 1 out. And that'll bring up DJ. He has the only hit of the game. He hit a one-hop rocket off the chest of Mike Moustakas to reach in the first inning. Wade Miley last year, just to give you a feel for what a change it's been, a 173 whip with Baltimore. That's tough, man. That's not good. This year he's got a career best 117. He's always, I should say always, but the last couple of years he's dealt with some walk issues. Two and one.
Miley comes from a very small town in Louisiana called La Ranger.
And this is another chance for Moustakas, and he'll throw out DJ.
Imagine growing up in a town with no stoplight. Population 5,000 people. It was Wade Miley, and he actually grew up loving the Atlanta Braves. And you love these type of stories. He ends up making it to the major leagues in a Diamondbacks uniform, and of course his first major league start goes against who? The Atlanta Braves.
2 outs as Nolan steps up. He chased a changeup away and struck out in the first. Again, Nolan hitting .414 coming in against left-handed pitching. And that'll be a base hit. There's nobody on that right side. So here comes Story.
Good piece of hitting for Nolan. He saw the entire right side of the infield wide open. Just punched it through. Back to Wade Miley. Wade Miley would drive 12 miles just to get to the nearest Walmart or McDonald's or Subway. That's how small the town he was.
Yeah, if you're more than 10 miles from a Walmart, you are in a small town. Miley against the Dodgers in his last outing, 7 innings of shutout baseball. He allowed only 2 hits at Dodger Stadium. That was a 4-game series that the Brewers split with LA. Well, the good news for the Rockies, the last couple of days they didn't lose any ground on the Dodgers, as the Dodgers have lost 2 in a row against Houston. Arizona's now in first in the division. The Rockies begin play today 3 games back in the West, 2.5 back in the wild card. And this is at Moustakas. We go to the bottom of the 3rd. The Brewers leading 1-0.
SportsNet is brought to you by Subaru. Love, it's what makes a Subaru. And by Papa John's. Use code ROCKSWIN for 50% off pizzas at papajohns.com the next day. Drew Goodman, Ryan Spilborgs, and Taylor McGregor. All kinds of good eats. Nolan will throw out Arce on the first pitch of the third inning. And that'll bring up Wade Miley.
When I played for the Madison Mallards right after college, really in between my sophomore and junior year, I came to a Milwaukee Brewers baseball game. And it was pretty fun to experience because I never had experienced it before, tailgating before a ball game. My host family brought me from Madison to here, and we sat in the parking lot for a good 4 hours before a baseball game even started.
I don't think there's any question that more tailgating for baseball takes place in Milwaukee than anywhere else in the country.
It's great.
Yeah.
It was so much fun.
We were driving in yesterday, what, 3.5 hours before the ball game, and the parking lot was already getting filled up.
Yeah, it was packed.
Thought the Packers were playing. 1-1 on Miley. On the ground to DJ. Stays with that in-between hop. 2 outs. 2 outs, and Christian Yelich will come up. He was robbed of probably a double by Ian Desmond in the bottom of the first inning. Hard to get this guy out right now.
He's in a great place offensively. His head doesn't move much at the plate. He's keeping his barrel within the strike zone.
Good heater, first strike. Adrian Johnson is in charge of balls and strikes. Haven't ID'd Adrian yet. Brian O'Neill is at first. Trip Gibson at second. Ryan Addington is at third. Yelich came to Milwaukee in late January. Not literally. I don't think he flew in that particular day, but that's when the deal was consummated with Miami. 7th in the league in slugging. .485 since the All-Star break. Pop foul over the Rockies dugout.
John, 9 out of 10 first pitch strikes. Even since returning from AAA, he's been so difficult for lefties to hit.
Yeah, Yelich batting leadoff for the second time in the series. Most of this year he's batted second. In fact, this is for Yelich just his 8th game batting in the leadoff spot. But it's worked out because Milwaukee is 6-1 in his other 7 starts in the leadoff spot. Some success against John.
The Marlins got quite a haul back from the Brewers in order to land Christian Yelich. Their top prospect, Lewis Brinson.
Swung on and missed. So John Gray gets a strikeout, made official by that tag by Murphy. And that is John's first strikeout of the afternoon. 1-0 on the Travis Shaw home run, the difference. opens the next day between 4 and 6 to get your Rockies Taco Special Lip Moss at Taco Bell. Rockies come up in the 4th inning trailing 1-0. Cargo has been in the middle of the offense for a while now. It's a couple of months worth of terrific play by Cargo. He walked his first time up against Wade Miley. Milwaukee elects not to shift. They keep Arcia on the left side of the infield. Cargo takes the off-speed pitch for a strike. Oh, 0-2. Rockies trying to win for the first time in August after that great July.
They have to find a way to get their mojo back.
Well, that ball is tatered to left center field, and that'll help off the very top of the wall. Cargo's got to hustle to make a double, and he will.
Let's get
that came within a foot of going out of the ballpark, and off the bat you say, okay, that's a tweener, and the thing, like Cargo, because he hits him so hard, just stayed in the air, Spilly.
Great 2-strike piece of hitting from Cargo. He's already hit 1 home run in his career against Wade Miley. You mentioned earlier good success against him, hitting well over 350 now.
So a leadoff double for Cargo, and here's Desmond. And that's not going to help. Pulled ground ball, no advance, 1 out.
Well, the Rockies on this road trip, they're now 8 for 40 with runners in scoring position.
Pat put down a bunt with runners at first and second and nobody out in the 2nd inning. But Murphy struck out behind him, and then John Gray bounced out. Pat ain't bunting here. He's trying to bring home Cargo. And that's foul. Now maybe Patty Barrels is the good luck charm, because in his last 8 starts, the Rockies have been able to shake hands at the conclusion of all of those 8 ball games.
Really? 8-0 in the last starts for Pat Valaika?
Yep. Desi fired at that first pitch, which is fine. We always say a lot of times that first pitch is the best one to swing at. But he has to make sure he can get that in the air if he's going to pull the baseball. This is in the air, left center field, and it's caught out there. Cargo will tag up on Braun. He'll go to 3rd. Now you have an option if you're Wade Miley. You can go after the slumping Tom Murphy, or you could pass on him and go at the pitcher, John Gray.
Well, my guess is they're going to go after Tom Murphy. 11 strikeouts, what is it, 13 strikeouts in his last 16 at-bats? Well, they are going to walk him.
That's somewhat of a tip of the cap to John Gray. Figuring runs will be at a premium this afternoon. Craig Counsell saying, I'm not going to mess around. John will give you a competitive at bat. I've said that many times. 1-1. Rockies' lone win this week was with John on the mound. They beat the Cardinals in Game 2 of that series at Busch Stadium 6-3. It's also the most runs they've scored in a game since July 20th, when they scored 11 in a victory at Arizona. It's been a while since they've been able to put up the old crooked number offensively. And on this trip, it seems like even producing a run after a leadoff double's been a chore. Strike 3. So the Rockies again waste an opportunity. Leadoff double by Cargo, and he's left standing at third. Not good. 1-0 Milwaukee.
Question, would you stay at a haunted hotel? Go to AT&T Sportsnet RM on Twitter to cast your vote. We will show the results of this during our post-game show. Here's John Gray at the Pfister Hotel, downtown Milwaukee, searching for ghosts. So I'm gonna go with A for him. Yes, he would stay at a haunted hotel. In fact, he embraces it. This has been a conversation among the Rockies clubhouse this week. Rockies team photographer Matt Dirksen said that he had some paranormal activity going on in his room, so him and John have been discussing it all week. So I guess both of them are going to go with A. They would prefer to stay in a haunted hotel. I wasn't really given the choice, so I guess I'm C. Whatever works. Spilly, Drew, what do you guys go with?
Yeah, I'm gonna stay at a haunted hotel. It sounds great.
Yeah, I'm in.
You're A? 100%?
I love the haunted mansion at Disneyland. It's the same thing.
I love the
Colorado Hotel up in Glenwood Springs.
Yeah, I love the
Stanley.
The Stanley. That's Estes Park. Yeah.
No, but
oh, there's one in Colorado Springs.
No, not Colorado Springs. What am I thinking? I can't even remember
the Stanley
the
and
town.
Estes Park.
No, it's Glenwood Springs. Sorry, Glenwood Springs. The Colorado Hotel.
Oh, the Colorado Hotel's haunted too?
Yeah.
I was just there swimming in the hot springs. Didn't see any ghosts. No.
Well, you didn't bring John Gray with you to hunt the ghosts, so that could have, changed things.
That's 3 pitches. Eric Thames seeing ghosts, as in the ghost of a baseball. You ever seen a ghost, Billy?
If I did, I mean, like, no, I haven't seen.
Why are all ghosts scary? Do they have to be scary?
I don't think they have to be scary.
They can be friendly. They can be like Casper.
Ghosts. Yeah, Casper's friendly.
Casper's a good dude. Boustakis with 1 out. Outside ball 1. 2 strikeouts for Gray. So the leadoff double by Cargo goes to waste. And, you know, if you're wondering by percentage, it's around 63, 64% that a leadoff man on second will score. Two and one.
And that's just been the case when you're facing good pitching like the Rockies have. Those situational ABs are extremely important. Moving over a runner, being aggressive with the base running, not striking out. It's hard to score runs at the major league level against good pitching, especially getting base hits with runners in scoring position, and that's been evident by the Rockies this week with a 200 batting average now with runners in scoring position. But there's been so many opportunities to score without having to have that big hit.
This is in the air to center field. There's Charlie waiting. Well, the Rockies have had at least one base runner in every inning. They had two in the second and they had two in the fourth, albeit the two last inning was after the intentional walk to get to John Gray. But to your point, there's been some traffic out there.
Throughout the week. Throughout the entire week, there's been many opportunities for the Rockies to add runs without needing a hit.
Well, the difference in this game right now is the guy at the plate. Shaw hit a home run on a hanging curveball. Second in as many days, his 22nd of the year. He's got 66 driven in. Here's the 0-1 from John. Good fastball. 0-2. See ya. On the outside corner at 95. Another strong inning from Gray. John has retired 8 in a row. Blackman at the top of the order next in the 5th.
Series, extremely important. August 9th through the 12th. Purchase your tickets at Rockies.com.
Third time through now for the Rockies against Wade Miley. Charlie a strikeout and a fly ball to left. John Gray, check this out. 4 innings pitched. He did give up that home run to Shaw. 40 pitches, 32 strikes. And this was another hanger that Charlie got. And when you're scuffling a little bit, instead of producing hits with it, you produce outs. He got a hanger his last time up and hit that fly ball to left field. So Charlie just 3 for his last 30 at the plate.
Well, you couple that with the fact that Charlie's never hit well here at Miller Park. 10 for 68 now.
Makes no sense, as good a hitter as Charlie is, and this is a very good park to hit in. But that's baseball sometimes, right?
That is his worst career average at any major league ballpark. Well, the shadows start creeping in here at Miller Park on day games. And it becomes pretty difficult to see. Right now, you can tell the batters are, it's almost like it's cut in half. Hitters are in the shadows. Wade Miley's in the sun. And if you've ever hit in shadows before, it's difficult. It's really hard to pick up the seams in the rotation. So when you're watching the ball coming out of the sun, you can pick up the white ball. But then once it gets into the darker section, the ball changes color mid-flight.
One and two, it remains on LeMahieu, a single and a ground ball to third. In his last start at Dodger Stadium, Miley kept Moustakas at third busy. There were 7 balls hit his direction. Guys out front a little bit on his off-speed stuff. 2 and 2. I mentioned that because DJ has twice, a guy who typically goes the other way, has twice pulled the ball at Moustakas. Talked about the breakdown of John Gray. Miley's piling up the strikes also. That, if it's fair, is a problem, and it's a fair ball. Excellent problem is DJ's going to go into second with a double. So a 1-out double for LeMahieu, and that'll bring up Arenado with the Rockies down 1-0 in the top of the 5th.
Well, DJ gets a pitch, center cut, and he pulls his hands inside. There's the inside-out swing we've grown to love with DJ. Shoots it right into the corner. DJ not going to take a chance to get the third on that one.
Now Scope, who is on the left side of the infield, Spilly, is on the right side of the infield for this at-bat, because Nolan hit that ground ball through the right side. They're processing data on the fly and changing it at bat to at bat defensively.
Well, and you have to. That's the aspect of shifting that I want more teams to take advantage of. Allow your infielders to read a swing. Nolan Arenado purposely manipulated his barrel to punch the ball through the right side of the infield. And having an infielder make that ability, or at least have that option to say, hey, this is what I'm seeing. This is how I'm seeing Miley throw. This is how I'm watching Nolan Arenado swing against Miley. I want to move back to my normal, regular position.
Way out in front, hitting against lefties in the National League this year for Nolan. And now it's 3-0. That's the first 3-0 count of the afternoon for Miley, with Story on deck. Three and one. Well, Spilly, this is not to be disrespectful of how Wade Miley has thrown so far this year in 7 starts. But history tells us that he's due for a market correction.
You have a well over a 5 ERA in a whole season last year. Yes. But at the same time, Miley has scrapped a slider, and he's just changed his pitch mix that's making it harder for right-handers to hit him.
3-1 on Nolan. That gets away. It's ball 4. DJ cannot advance, though. Kratz pounced on it. So now Story will come up. Trevor a strikeout and a ground ball to third. You get to the third at bat against somebody, especially for Trevor, he'd never seen Miley before. So Billy, put that helmet back on your head. What's your thought process? How much have you learned through 2 ABs typically?
Well, through 2 at bats, and normally you'll see those batting averages jump up third time through, and for Wade Miley, it's no different. But you log in all that information, what the pitch is doing, the movement.
This ball hit high in the air, deep left field. Did Story do it again? You bet, 3-run jack. He filed all that data and smoked the first pitch he saw. And the Rockies are in front 3-1. Milwaukee can't wait till the shortstop for the Rockies leaves town.
That is Trevor Story's 7th home run this season against the Milwaukee Brewers. Jumps all over the cutter in. Trevor knew it. Heads up, bullpen.
24th home run for Trevor, which matches his total from last year. Gerardo Parra giving him a big bear hug. I don't even need to see who's behind the hood. I know it's Gerardo. He's always the last guy in the receiving line. There he is. Cargo almost hit one out his last time, up a double off the top of the left center field wall. Inside 1-1. Boy, that changes the mood of the dugout in a hurry, doesn't it?
It really does. And that's the first home run Wade Miley's given up in 2018. There's your market correction.
At first, Shaw will run to the bag, 2 outs. Boy, the Rockies ever need this.
Here's that swing on the Subaru Supermo. Ball not cutting as much as Eric Kratz wanted it. It just stays flat out over the middle portion of the plate. It's a great day to be a Story.
Well, it's a true story also, which, when we get to the Players Weekend, that's going to be the nickname on the back of his jersey. This ball's ripped to left's got to get down, and it did not before Braun stabbed it. So Desi hit it hard. In the inning, there was a double with 1 out from LeMahieu. Nolan walked, and then Trevor Story lost another baseball. 3-1 Colorado. SportsNet is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Low fares, no hidden fees. That's transparency.
Look at that grill.
That's a fancy grill.
Wow, a Miller Park grill.
But there's no hot coals underneath. What's going on?
Thing's sweet.
Ryan Braun's going to reach here to lead off the 5th inning. It'll go as a hit. Nolan's watching it again. It was a hot shot. Nolan knocked it down and then was trying to find the baseball. So a leadoff single for Braun, who's now 2 for 2. He's hit 10 of his last 11. And that'll bring up Scope, who hit into a 6-4-3 double play his last time up. That would work here. Rockies up 3-1 on another home run from Story. Two-run home runs yesterday, and today he does one better, a 3-run shot. I was saying that when you get to Players Weekend, remember last year he wore Joe on the back of his jersey because Mark Reynolds had give him that nickname. Well, this year it's going to be True. He is a true story. High fly ball to left field. Desmond is going to get behind this because tagging's Braun. He won't move up on Desi, who throws very well. 1 out. Taylor, you always have more on stories like this, if you will.
I see the pun there. So I was talking to Vinny Castilla about this, and he said he's the originator of True Story. No one is able to confirm that, but I can confirm that on his glove, it says True, and the two shared a pretty cool moment. Story came in and showed Vinny that he had gotten True on his glove, and Vinny really loved that, guys.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I think it was Vinny who went up to Trevor a couple years ago and said, you know, Vinny, he has fun with everybody. He said, man, you're the truth. You're True Story.
It's a good nickname. I like it.
And it applies.
It does apply.
Eric Kratz with 1 out. And this is in the air to right center field, pretty well hit, and it's tracked down out there by Cargo. He got a really good jump and a perfect route to the baseball. You said it earlier, Spilly. I mean, Kratz was out on his front side. This is a big, strong man, though.
It's a large human. Great route from Cargo, and it's now the 3rd time that we've seen the curveball of John Gray be squared up, at least hit hard. Might just be a fastball slider kind of day for John Gray.
And that's okay.
It's fine. I can live with that.
Especially when you have more than 1+ pitch. Arcia with 2 outs.
John just went back to the curveball. Just started it lower. Now, we talked about curveballs in general. More pitchers are trying to eliminate the higher curveball. They want to start it belt high and let it snap down.
He went back to it there, 2-0. You know, one thing you can do as a pitcher, if he is still trying to get the feel for it on a given day, open up a count with it because it's less likely to be swung at in that situation. And so if you do hang one, you may get a pass on it. Braun takes off, and he'll easily steal second. Now, John's one of those guys, major league average, you know, 1-3 to the plate. John tends to be 1-4 and above.
3 consecutive off-speed pitches to Arcia.
Well, now you make it easy on the Rockies. With first base open, it's a 3-0 count. You have Miley on deck. Soria's up. Miley's looking back, wondering if he's going to hit. The Rockies believe he will not, and that's why they're going to continue to go at Arcia, even though it's a 3-0 count.
I see Jesus Aguilar with his batting gloves, his helmet, and a bat, standing only feet away from Craig Counsell.
You wonder how managers figure this out. It's not only a field, but they look down in the bullpen, they see a guy up. So now 2 on with 2 outs. Miley is done. He'll walk back, and the big man will come up, Aguilar. And typically you You think, well, you saved that kind of bat till later in the ball game. In the mind of Craig Counsell and other managers, sometimes you don't wait, and the big at bat could take place in the 5th inning. And for Counsell, he's saying this is a big at bat.
That's why I wasn't crazy about the pitch sequence for John in that at bat against Arcia. Arcia comes in hitting sub 200, and just understanding you walked Arcia to get to one of their bigger hitters in Aguilar, who's a all-star.
And the interesting thing about Aguilar is Tom Murphy goes over the scouting report. On fastballs 94 and above, he hits well over 300. On soft stuff, breaking balls, any other off-speed pitch, he hits in the low 200s. So you'd like to be able to have that curveball at your disposal. He's scuffled with it so far today, but bottom line is right now John's up 3-1. 2 outs, 2 on. Aguilar pinch hitting. John now all of a sudden can't land any of his secondary stuff. 1-0.
That's 4 straight balls with all his secondary pitches, and as a hitter, when you're seeing that, Aguilar's gearing up for nothing but fastball.
Yanked that fastball. It's 2-0. This is the guy you want, as crazy as that may sound, because Yelich is on deck. Aguilar's an all-star. He's had a monster year, but it's right on right. He's 8 for his last 60, so he's not exactly warm at the plate. (2-0), and that's fouled off the end of the bat. 2-1. He went slider 2-0. Well, the mound now is completely in a shadow, which helps out the hitter again. And then, opposed to it coming out of the sun and then going into a shadow, everybody's now in a shadow. Here's the 2-1 on Aguilar. Well, he got away with a slider there that was up and out of the zone. 2-2.
This is where John has to put the hitter away. He's been very good on the season. 170 batting average with 2 outs and 2 strikes.
Make a pitch right here. 2-2. To short, Story waits, and he finds LeMahieu. Well done. The big out for John Gray as he gets the pinch hitter Aguilar with 2 aboard. The Rockies in front 3-1 going to the 6th.
Milwaukee, Wisconsin is Hank Aaron. The Hall of Famer began and finished his career, and he's commemorated around the ballpark in a multitude of ways. One of those right here is the plaque right outside the stadium. It used to be County Stadium when he was playing here, and that plaque is the landing spot of his 750th career home run. There's a statue to go along with it. Now, that 750th home run was the last of his career, ranks him second all-time in Major League Baseball. Now, these are his numbers, but what I think is the most insane is look at his hits. 3,771. So you take away the 755 home runs, he still has 3,000 hits in his career. There's a reason he is a Hall of Famer. Now, to tie this all in with the Rockies, I was talking to Paul Egan's, who is a staple to this Rockies organization. He is now the team's travel secretary, and he was telling me that Hank Aaron actually hired him in his first ever job within Major League Baseball. It was with the Atlanta Braves, so kind of a cool connection there, guys.
Yeah, and he remains very, very close with the legend Hank Aaron, as does the former commissioner of baseball and the former owner of the Brewers, Bud Selig. This is Gerardo Parr. He's pinch hitting for Pat Valaika because he's going to stay in the game with the Rockies ahead here in the later innings and play left field. Ian Desmond will move to first base. So Parra grounds out, and that'll bring up Tom Murphy. The new pitcher is Joakim Soria. Spilly, you and I were just discussing this during the commercial break. If you're a reliever and they have an outstanding bullpen from Milwaukee, that phone rings. You have no idea who it's for.
I know it.
Soria pitched in the 9th inning yesterday.
We saw Josh Hader warming up in the 6th. Hader ended up getting the last out of the game last night.
You walked out with your former teammate from winter ball in Mexico and his family last night, Joakim Soria.
It was good to see Joakim. Says he's still getting adjusted to life in Milwaukee, having just been traded over here. That is the hardest part about being a player, going from one city to another and trying to, especially when you have a young family.
I was going to say, you know what makes it easier, Spilly, and you certainly knew this to be true, when your family can be there with you. So you're not just in a hotel room and you're missing the children, you're missing your wife. And in the case of Joakim, you know, he had everybody with him yesterday, and that helps out immensely.
Yeah, the wives are the superstars.
You bet.
Can't
I want to
do it without
congratulate
him.
my wife. She was at Cherry Creek bright and early this morning, completing a triathlon.
Oh, good for her.
Yeah. Really proud of her. She did great. And all the ladies who participated this morning. Murphy takes inside, 1 and 2.
Well, we're not kidding when we talk about hitters going through a stretch of virtually when you're striking out a lot. And I think Doug handed me a note that it was 19 strikeouts in his last 32 at bats. You just walk up to the plate and you have 2 strikes.
That's a rough go right now for Tom. 2 gone. That'll bring up John. We've seen a couple of instances of the recent maturation of John Gray. This is start number 4 since coming back from Albuquerque. And he really was not sent to Albuquerque to work on anything mechanically. He was really worked to sort through and pitch with confidence and be able to handle situations out of the stretch, excuse me, that are stressful. And he's done that upon his return.
Really has. The numbers were remarkable in that if there's anybody on base, the ERA jumped up. With runners on, he was .314 batting average against him. No runners on, he was .231. That's a big jump, 70 points.
John throwing down the bunt. Wasn't able to move it too far or far enough away from the mound, so it isn't out. A 1-2-3 inning. We'll go to the bottom of the 6th. The Rockies up 3-1.
for the Rockies-Pirates game tomorrow will receive a coupon for a Nathan's Famous $1 hot dog. Well, here in Milwaukee, the famous sausage race with a little difference. It was a relay race with some smaller sausages. This is great. Run, Chorizo! Chorizo's my guy. Big fan of Chorizo.
Great closing speed.
Yeah. It's hard to see in those costumes.
It's a great race. John Gray ready to throw down, or throw his final warm-up pitch in the sixth. It'll be Yelich, Eric Thames, Mike Moustakas, 1, 2, and 3 in the Milwaukee batting order. The Brewers came into play today, second best record in the National League. Their game behind the Cubs in the National League Central. And the Rockies began the day 3 back of Arizona in the competitive West, 2.5 in the wild card. Yelich, deep fly ball to left center, robbed by the then left fielder Ian Desmond. Then he struck out in the third. Desi is now at first, and Parra is now in left field. And that's a base hit. Like a beach ball coming up there to him right now, I guess, huh?
He's locked in.
So there's the alignment we were just discussing. Eric Thames, fly ball to left and a strikeout as well. Desmond is an athlete. I still laugh at so many of the pundits around baseball who thought it was foolhardy of the Rockies to think that he could play first base. Well, he's never played there before. Played shortstop his whole life. This to center field, coming on is Charlie, 1 out.
It was a nice read from Charlie in center field. There's times where you see a big swing like Eric Thames typically takes. The ball, you have to trust your ears. Didn't have the good contact sound of the wood hitting leather. He was almost, you almost had to trust your instincts of your ears. And that's what Charlie did. First step, come running in, good route.
Facing 3, actually 4 in this inning, big left-handed hitters. Now it's Moustakas with Shaw on deck. Pitch not called a strike, looked to be at the bottom of the zone, 1-0.
Yeah, the reaction for John Gray, he wanted that pitch.
Moustakas a couple of days ago in the Brewers clubhouse was sporting a Bucks jersey of the Greek Freak. Said, I can't wait to meet him.
Can you say his last name?
I call him the Greek Freak, like most other sensible announcers. And he is that. 2-0. All right, now you got to battle back. 3-0.
Well, you definitely don't want to see any more traffic in front of Travis Shaw. Travis Shaw, 2 hits against the Rockies this series, both homers.
And he loses them. Now you create a little problem. 2 on, 1 out, and Shaw coming up. A 4-pitch walk to Moustakas. Second walk allowed this afternoon by Shaw, excuse me, by Gray.
Well, you want to settle John Gray down. He missed that first pitch strike to Moustakas, and then seemed to be a little overwhelmed with some emotion. Wasn't able to relocate a pitch after that. Good job by Tom Murphy trying to settle him down. That'll count as a mound visit.
John gets a chase on the first delivery. It's 0-1. Shaw has kind of been the Milwaukee version of Trevor Story against Colorado this year. It was Trevor has 7 home runs against Milwaukee with a 3-run shot today. But Shaw has hit 4 against Colorado in 2018. That is hooked foul, so it's a 2-strike count on Shaw. This is a formidable lineup. They made it better with their moves to get Moustakas and Scope. On deck, you have Ryan Braun. It's not a win a batting title type of lineup, but it's got a lot of thump in it.
This is an American League lineup, going back to the Brewers' time in the American League.
0-2. 1-2. Last couple of starts, John has pitched more to contact. A guy that averages almost 11 strikeouts per 9, but get quick outs the last couple of starts. Today, just 3 strikeouts.
I'll make a play, Drew.
I can't. I don't have long enough arms. 1-2. One thing we haven't seen from John today, been a couple 96s, but we haven't seen that big giddy up fastball that he usually has in his arsenal. 1-2 with 2 on and 1 out. Good block. That is a really good block by Murphy.
Well, Yelich was creeping, and Mike Moustakas was paying attention to Yelich. Trevor Story goes right behind, asking for a pick, and that's why I think John overthrew the curveball. Good action from his infielders. Shortstop was then vacated.
Two and 2. And now he's gone full. Three-2, and he got him. Went with a backdoor slider, and he strikes out Shaw. 2 are out, and that'll bring up Ryan Braun.
Well, I just like how John settled himself down. No panic there. He almost, even with the hop after, you can see confidence. Yeah, I got you right here. Well, knew it.
The focus to execute a pitch when you have to, something that John didn't have consistently the first half of the season.
Correct. And now you got to face Ryan Braun, who is 2 for 2 on you on the day, and he's hit both balls hard.
Well, we said this when we came to town on Friday. Braun was not in the starting lineup on Friday, but Ryan Braun, despite a low batting average, certainly by his standards, The advanced metrics suggesting he's swinging the bat a lot better than that. A lot of barrels. Now he's hitting 10 out of 11. Yelich takes off for third, and that is inside.
I think Yelich is disappointed Moustakas didn't trail him to second base. Because just stealing third base with Ryan Braun hitting is kind of a waste of a steal. You see, as Yelich was sliding into third, he looked to see if Moustakas was at second.
Well, in that situation, I'm sure Murphy had alerted his infielders prior that he's going to throw to second. Strike one. That's a tough, Billy, you know that when you're the trail guy and you're a guy like Moustakas who doesn't run well, the last thing you want to do is take the bat with a 2-run deficit out of Braun's hands, and you got to make sure that Yelich goes.
Well, and you don't want to mess with the hitter when he's hitting. It's his time.
Ground ball, deep third, tough play, Nolan. He's got him at first. What a great play by the Gold Glover. That saved a run. And John Gray wiggles out of it. He had to retreat, he had to spin, he had to make a long and perfect throw to get a guy who can run.
You gotta be kidding me. And they keep the lead 3-1. Let's look at this play to end the inning by Nolan Arenado on the Subaru Supermo. Just where he fielded it behind his hip, resets his feet, makes the throw on the run. He ends up in left center field. It's just incredible. Very easily, just one bobble, one miscue, one step, not giving himself the right angle, and that's an error, maybe even a hit.
His hands are so incredibly soft. And then
it's because he uses lotion.
That and then of course from the arm standpoint, he's got a phenomenal arm, a phenomenally accurate arm, and he can throw from a number of different arm slots. It's just a great play. Charlie fouls that off, 1-1. Jeremy Jeffress is now in the ball game. Another one of those guys having a huge year out of the bullpen for Milwaukee. Look at his numbers. League hitting just 194. Better than 3-to-1 strikeout to walk ratio.
Well, Rockies need to tag on some extra runs on this road trip. The Rockies have been outscored from the 7th inning on 14-5.
It's been an issue all year. Got to start winning those late innings. 3 runs, 5 hits for the Rockies, a run, 4 hits for the Brewers. 3-1. Charlie trying to reach for the first time today, sitting on 999 hits. Not all this year, Spilly. That's for his career.
Be a good year. What'd that even look like?
Have a high batting average. Ball 4. So Charlie, a leadoff walk. That's a good start. And that'll bring up DJ.
You know, you have all these viral videos, people doing different stuff, some sort of challenge. We should come up with the Nolan Arenado third base challenge. To make, like, somebody make a spinning play and throw it 120 feet across an infield. Maybe through a bucket.
Yeah, you're not going to find a lot of guys who can replicate that, I'm quite sure. DJ may bunt here. Got the attention of Moustakas. I'm surprised Moustakas, you know, the Rockies trying to build a larger advantage. He was 15 feet behind the bag. Now, even after the first pitch is a called strike, he is even. Charlie takes off, and it's a hit and run. Jeffress safe at second. The ball came out. That's the second mishap today for Jonathan Scope at second base. Actually, the last one was Scope flipping to Arcia, who couldn't hang on a play at second. And the Rockies catch a break. 2 on now. Nobody out. Look again.
Jeffress, we could throw 100 miles an hour. It looks like he just handcuffs Jonathan Scope at second base.
That ball's got to be caught.
It has to be caught. Well, we mentioned the Brewers have a lot of players out of position. Scope primarily a second baseman, but the errors for the Milwaukee Brewers now, that's 71 errors.
It's a fielder's choice if you score with us at home, and an E4 on the drop throw.
So
perfect throw.
Make that 72 errors for the season for the Brewers.
Got to take advantage. Two strikes on Nolan. Strikeout, single, walk, and a run scored when Trevor Story blasted one to left center field. Trevor's on deck. Just off the plate.
Jeffress' fastball averages 95 miles an hour, throws it 50% of the time. Throw the occasional curveball. We said that about this Milwaukee group. Curveball, slider, the secondary pitches you have to pay attention to.
Gets a strikeout and Nolan, 1 out. It's time for Built for Baseball, brought to you by T-Mobile. Here comes Trevor Story, and he has tormented the Milwaukee Brewers this year. How about in this series? He has 4 home runs in the series. He had 1 Friday night. He had 2 yesterday. And with the Rockies down 1-0 today, he takes Wade Miley for a ride, a 3-run shot. 7 home runs against the Brewers, most in a season by a Rocky.
That's 7 home runs, 17 RBIs. The 17 RBIs in 7 games, that's a ton.
Trevor now is 78 driven in. Going against Jeremy Jeffress, who back in 2006 was the first-round pick of the Brewers. 16th overall. Oh and 1. The Brewers like Jeffress because they have traded him and reacquired him now twice. This is his third tour in a Milwaukee uniform. He went to Kansas City the first time, then to Toronto, back to Milwaukee, Texas for about a year and a half, now back here in Milwaukee. Blackman at second, he walked. DJ at first. Couple of sliders. 2 strikes on Story. Cargo's on deck. Three-1 Colorado as they hit in the 7th. Fastball boring in on you.
His stuff is good. It's electric. He also has a good mound presence in Jeffress. He's a former basketball player in high school. Led his team in scoring, 3-point shooting. Now that he developed those secondary pitches that go with his fastball, he's become one of the best in baseball as a reliever.
Back up the middle, gloved by Scope. He will not get the double play. So now it'll come down to Cargo against Jeffress. Cargo a walk, a double high off the left center field wall, and a sharp ground ball to first. So he's 1 for 2. Cargo sitting on 49 RBIs. He's dropping that slider in. It's 0-1. Two strikes.
You like to find some way somehow, because if Jeffress gets out of this inning, that's a momentum builder back for the Milwaukee Brewers. First and second, nobody on. Strikeout of Nolan, you get the hottest hitter on the Rockies team in Trevor.
Cargo lines it foul into the seats. I was talking to him this morning in the clubhouse, and he believes, he's been here for more than 10 years, he believes top to bottom talent-wise, especially when you look at that rotation, that this is the best team he's been involved with the Rockies, and a part of. Naturally spoke highly of the 92 win team that he was a central figure on from the midsummer forward in 2009. 2010 team that was good and unfortunately had a rough couple of weeks late in September. And this is bounced to scope. So the Rockies get 2 on with nobody out. Failed to take advantage. We're going to stick around for a rendition of God Bless America. The Rockies in Milwaukee leading 3-1 on a Sunday afternoon.
I'm Bob Kozlowski from the Brewers Guest Services.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with a light from above. From the mountains to the prairies to the oceans white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
Inning. It'll be Jonathan Scope, the second baseman, to lead off, then Eric Kratz and Orlando Arcia. John Gray continuing on his last 3 starts. He's gone at least 7, and he hopes to at least duplicate that today. Curveball is up high, ball 1. Rockies seemingly have had base runners in every inning. Actually, they have, with the exception of the 6th. Desi may have a play. This is going to be close. But they have only 3 runs, and that came on 1 swing of the bat in the 5th inning. A 3-run home run from Trevor Story. But John Gray has made it stand up. Put together his 4th straight terrific performance. And a low pitch count again. 72 pitches here in the 7th inning. Good fastball.
A great fastball.
One of the better fastballs he's thrown today by location.
It's just he's living at the bottom of the strike zone. You can see it's an aggressive nature from John. And even when the going got tough for him, he settled himself down.
He's maintained his focus. That's a great pitch. Slider, see you later. 1 out in the 7th. That is strikeout number 5 for Gray. How dirty's this pitch?
This is filthy because he just threw the fastball 96 at the bottom of the strike zone, and as a hitter, visually it looks like fastball. It slides right away from you.
When he's right, it's one of the best sliders in baseball. Gets a very high rate of swing and misses on that slider. Now the big catcher, Eric Kratz. Kratz is like Hernan Perez. Comes to the yard, he's got to bring his catcher's glove. Perez brings his middle infield glove, but every once in a while they got to throw out a bullpen because they may get called upon to pitch. Kratz a couple times this year. Perez, I think 4 times now this year. He's been asked to pitch. Both pitched in that Thursday debacle in Los Angeles where the Brewers lost 21-5. 2-0. Slider for a strike. 2-1.
Well, think about the Dodgers week. They have that 21-5 win at Dodger Stadium. Then they lost last night to the Houston Astros, the worst loss they've ever suffered since the early 1900s.
This ball's lined toward Cargo. He's on the move, and he'll reach up and make the grab. Good play by Carlos. That was hit hard. 2 outs. Here's our RE/MAX upcoming home schedule for the Rockies. The Rockies were right back at it tomorrow evening. We're on the air at 6 o'clock here on AT&T Sportsnet as the Pirates are in town. Pirates have been a nice story the last month. They're involved in a playoff chase. They were very aggressive during the latter part of July in acquiring a couple of players, most namely Chris Archer, and then it's that huge series, Billy, against the Dodgers. 4 games.
That's where you have to start making up ground. We keep pointing out that regardless of how bad this week has been for the Rockies will still be in a position to win a division, win a wild card spot because of how many games are left within the division. You play well within the division down the stretch, you're going to be in that position to win the National League West.
You know, when it gets to September, as you're suggesting, it's going to be primarily games within the division, and it'll be imperative to play well. Arcia fouls that off. It's a 2-strike count on the shortstop from Milwaukee. Never good to assume. We all know that. But we can speculate. If John gets Arcia here, he's ahead 1-2. Still a low pitch count going to the 8th inning. It'll be 9-1-2. A pinch hitter next inning, and then the top. How did he not swing at that?
It's right at the bottom of the Subaru strike zone.
Does John have an opportunity to go out again in the 8th inning? 4th time through. He's going to get him. It's popped up right in front of home plate. Murphy makes the play. Great inning for John Gray. We move on to the 8th. The Rockies ahead 3-1. By StubHub, Rockies fans, get your tickets at StubHub, official partner of the Colorado Rockies. And by Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo customers get your 2-for-1 Rockies club level tickets by visiting wellsfargo.com/Rockies. Miller Park in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, about 10 minutes from downtown. With Ryan Spilborghs and Taylor McGregor and our entire crew. I'm Drew Goodman. The Rockies will have Ian Desmond in the 8th inning. And Craig Counsell continues to try to keep it close by throwing all of his plus side guys here in the middle innings. This is Josh Hader now. I know the 8th inning's not considered middle innings, but it's somewhat atypical when you're down to throw your plus side guys. But we've seen Soria, we've seen Jeffress, and now here's Hader, who ended up getting the save last night when he got Blackmon, with the Rockies threatening. The Rockies scored 2 in the 9th inning yesterday, down 8-2 initially. Then it was 8-4. They load the bases, and Murphy was up. He struck out. Then they got Hader to face Charlie Blackmon, and Charlie hit a pop to shallow right to end the threat. But the Rockies never cashed in their chips, man. They played hard to that final out, which is one of the main characteristics of this team.
Brewers have a day off tomorrow, so it allows Craig Counsell that extra time to use his plus side guys in this series.
And I think going back to the conversation you and I were having last half inning, for the Rockies, Buddy wants to stay away from Wade Davis. He threw 40-plus pitches on Thursday and Friday, and it was obviously a very difficult 24-hour period for him. Give him a couple of days to reset, not only from the fatigue of a lot of work in those 2 days, but the obvious disappointment of those 2. So he'd close with Ottavino today, in all likelihood. And the other bridge guys have not been super sharp. We know that. So from a standpoint of how he wants to finish another tight game, that is caught over there by Shaw. It appears, and understandably so, that he's going to say, John Gray, go get me 3 more outs in the 8th.
Sure. And I think based on how well John Gray has pitched to lefties since returning, it's a sub 100 batting average now in a pretty large sample size. You're not afraid of looking at the pinch hitter spot coming up and then 4 consecutive lefties. Harrison Musgrave threw yesterday.
Well, the guy you'd want, and he may be involved,
is Jake McGee.
But it's been an uneven year for Jake.
Look, that's the hardest part as a manager when you're managing a bullpen, is when you're on the plus side with this small lead and you have matchups. And it's not that he doesn't have confidence in that group, but the results of late have been very difficult. And really, you have one guy in Ottavino that has been consistently good throughout the year.
That's the reality. Hader misses there. It's 2-0 on Parra. Second at bat for Parra. He pinch hit for Valleca in the 6th and naturally stayed in the game in left field where Desmond was playing. Desmond did a great job today out in left field. He had one phenomenal play out there, and then Desmond moved to first base so the Rockies could put their best defensive team on the field. 3-0. Parra, the Rockies' leading road hitter this year, well above 300. He's had a good trip, 9 out of 24 at the plate. And a 4-pitch walk, left on left. So with 1 out, Parra will jog down to first, and that'll bring up Tom Murphy, who's been struggling. Let's check in downstairs with Taylor.
Hey guys, yeah, I just want to remind you of the brand new episode of The Club that will be premiering today after the pregame show. It features Matt Holliday, checking in with him when he was in Grand Junction to talk about his potential return to the big leagues with the Rockies, and then Adam Ottavino reflecting on his time with his former club in the St. Louis Cardinals, and then also former Rockies pitcher Randy Flores talking about his new role with St. Louis, and then also we talked about this past few days, Steve Foster and his daughter Lauren talking about their special relationship and her current time with the Wisconsin Badgers. So a lot of exciting stuff in tonight's brand new episode of The Club after the postgame show. Guys.
Action-packed. Can we call it action-packed?
That's great. It's a great use of words.
A lot of stuff stuffed into that show later on today on The Club. Good show. Good program. A young Adam Ottavino in a Cardinals uniform, huh?
Look good. Looks better in Rockies purple.
Looks great in Rockies purple. Here's Murph.
All University of Wyoming fans are invited to watch the Rockies-Dodgers on August 11th. Buy the Wyoming ticket package to get a limited edition hat at rockies.com/Wyoming.
I think in Parker, Colorado right now, every time you read that spot, Jeff and Wendy Houston stand up and salute. Should be getting a text here within the next 30 seconds.
Probably close. I would love to give Tom Murphy a nice salute. We'd like to see him break out of this funk that he's been in at the plate.
That's down low.
And all pitchers have been attacking the weak spot in his swing. It's down and in. Trying to keep the ball away from him. Well, Tom wants the ball away from him so he can extend his arms, but he's been exposed down and in. That's his spot. Set up right under his hands again.
And again, he struggles with that pitch. 1-2. This is where baseball can be so painful.
Well, as a hitter, you know it's coming too. You know that Josh Hader wants to throw his back foot slider or throw a fastball underneath your hands.
Missed location there. That was up. And again, when you're going good, that's lined down to the left field line. You got to double. When you're struggling, you foul it back. And now you got to deal with another potentially nasty pitch. 20 strikeouts, last 33 at bats for Tom. 1 out, par is at first, 3-1 in the 8th. The Rockies ahead. Out number 2. John Gray will come up. It's a good day for a starting pitcher when you get 4 at bats. Means you're doing something right on the mound. That strikeout for Hader was his 100th of the year. He becomes the second reliever in Milwaukee history to produce 100 strikeouts. The other is Corey Knebel, who's down in that Milwaukee pen right now, used last night.
This will be a little bit of a cat and mouse game for the Rockies and the Brewers. Whether you decide if you want Gerardo Parra to try to steal second base, you don't mind if he gets thrown out.
No, because next inning you'll pinch hit.
You're almost willing to sacrifice this out, and if he happens to get to second base and Gray runs into one, that's great. Now for sure.
You got to go here.
You got to go. First movement.
Doesn't look like he's going. He's not. So we'll go to the bottom of the 8th inning, and John Gray will try to maintain his excellence this afternoon. It's the Rockies 3, the Brewers 1. Gray, 4 starts since coming back from Albuquerque, and all 4 have been splendid. 7+ as he looks to go 8 full. He's allowed a run on 4 hits today, just 84 pitches. That continues a trend of low pitch counts for John Gray. He has tamed so far a very good Milwaukee lineup. He's going to get Lorenzo Cain to lead off. He's going to bat for Hader, and then it's Yelich and Thames, 9, 1, and 2, here in the bottom of the 8th inning. The Brewers have won the first 2 games of this series, and throughout the 2018 campaign, they've been very good against the National League West, 19 and 7 against the West. They've won 5 out of 6 against the Rockies. So Cain, getting a rare day off, at least as a starter, will now enter the fray here to lead off as a pinch hitter in the bottom of the 8th. Quiet series. Gray will try to keep him quiet. That is smoked, fortunately, off either a railing or something just to the end of that dugout. There wasn't a person. Chacin taking inventory with his teammates. Here's the 0-1. Down low with the fastball. A ball and a strike. Down the line, foul. The Rockies, just in case, have Song-Hwan Oh up in their bullpen. Good breaking ball, just a little bit low. And conceivably, Adam Ottavino could be asked to get more than 3 outs in this game. This is a big one here. 2-2. Strike 3. Kane knew it. 1 out in the 8th inning. Strikeout number 6 this afternoon for the Gray Wolf.
It's just such a great pitch after throwing a curveball at the bottom of the strike zone. Lorenzo Cain probably looking for a different pitch, and John Gray freezes him with the fastball. First pinch hit of the bat of the season for Lorenzo Cain, and he goes down swinging, going down looking.
Now the toughest out in the lineup right now for Milwaukee, Yelich. He takes a strike. Christian 1 for 3, lined a single to right in the 6th inning. Would reach 3rd. But Gray struck out Shaw and got Braun on a great play by Arenado. That's a swing. It's 0-2. The only run allowed by John back in the 2nd inning, a leadoff home run in the 2nd by Travis Shaw.
Just looking at and Ottavino warming up, it could be Ottavino coming in this inning if he has to. Obviously, we don't want to see him coming in, but if he does, Otto has better numbers against lefties than O does, and you'd flip-flop and you'd have O finish off the 9th.
I guarantee you those thoughts have gone through the mind of Buddy Black. Last year, you would not have said that. Otto struggled against lefties last year. It's the beauty of the acquisition of O, because not only has he been a good setup man, he was a really good closer 2 years ago for St. Louis. So if you throw him in the 9th, it's not foreign territory. That just missed. It was off the plate. 2-2.
O has 398 saves between Major League Baseball, Korea, and Japan. The final boss.
Breaking ball swung on and missed. It was a slider away, and Gray has 2 big outs in the 8th.
John saving his best for last. Striking out Lorenzo Cain, and now one of the hottest hitters in baseball, and Christian Yelich, a backdoor slider.
Two outs, nobody on. Big Eric Thames at the plate. Rockies shift 3 to the right side. LeMahieu into the outfield. Strike 1. Not only LeMahieu, who has grass under his feet, Trevor Story also up the middle with the grass under his feet. '98th pitch upcoming. 1-1 on Thames. And he blew it by him. 1-2. Boy, I love the mentality John Gray has this inning.
He's cranked it up a notch this inning, for sure. I mean, his focus has gotten even more laser-like.
Get it down, says Murphy. He does. Tag of the batter. How about that 8th inning? A strikeout of Cain, a strikeout of Yelich, a strikeout of Thames. Let's go to the 9th. 3-1 Colorado. Well done, John Gray. Underline that.
Ooh, Wolfpack.
Yeah, that was 8 spectacular innings, and he saved the best for probably the last. The 8th inning, striking out the side. This is Corbin Burns. At the top of the 9th inning, the Rockies will have the top of their order. Try to add on. They're up 3-1. Who wants tacos? Fans, follow us at AT&T Sportsnet RM on Twitter to receive alerts for the Rockies taco special when the Rockies score 7 or more runs. Charlie has reached once today. He walked leading off the 7th. The Rockies had 2 on, nobody out in the 7th, could not score. Charlie otherwise 0 for 3. Strikeout, fly out, ground out. Burns pitched on Friday night.
Big live arm from Burns. Pretty amazing when you think of in his major league debut, he pitched 2 innings, earned a save.
Yeah, that's unusual.
You don't see that. He joins Dave LaPointe back in 1980.
He ended up getting the win on Friday night because he had pitched the top of the 9th inning, and then of course Thames the walk-off 3-run home run. Ball and a strike on Chuck Nasty.
That's one way to get the bat head out in front.
That would have been a double if they moved the foul pole like 175 feet. LeMahieu and Nolan to follow. Hopefully others. Second best prospect entering the season in Milwaukee's system. And this ball's in the air to center field. Yelich retreating, still going back, in fact, and he'll make the catch.
Burns comes out of Bakersfield, California, went to Centennial High School.
Been to Bakersfield.
Yeah, it's hot. His time in Bakersfield didn't have a lot of recruiting opportunities, ended up going to St. Mary's, Division I school. A couple of years after being at St. Mary's, the Brewers drafted him with their 4th round pick in 2016.
One and one on LeMahieu. DJ a single and a double this afternoon. Two balls and a strike. And that's upstairs. Well, maybe not, but it was called a ball. 3-1. Ball 4. And here comes Nolan. Nolan was in such a rush to get to the plate a moment ago. He almost kept the weight on his bat as he was walking up. You ever done that, Spilly? Here I go, I'm ready. I'm going to swing a 65-ounce bat.
We've all done it before.
You know what, Nolan or Trevor on deck can make this a whole lot easier on Rockies fans in that dugout in purple. Give Adam Ottavino some comfort going to the 9th inning. The bottom half of the 9th inning.
Four runs typically in baseball is a pretty winning number. 3 runs or less, majority of baseball teams have a losing record.
Unless it was the early days of Petco, where it was a race to 3 runs. Some nights a race to 2 runs.
I'll give you the example. Rockies are 16-28 when they score 3 runs or less. 42-24 if they get to 4. All Dodgers fans through the gates. Oh, fans through the gates, not Dodger fans. For the Rockies-Dodgers game on August 11th, will receive a Colorado Rockies baseball pack, courtesy of Topps.
Yeah, that's 5 lashes for what you said initially.
Maybe a Dodger fan come through the gates and get Rockies baseball cards. Convert yourself into a Rockies fan.
There you go. Diving back is DJ. Line drive, base hit for Nolan on 2 strikes. LeMahieu may have a chance to get to 3rd. He will. 1st and 3rd, 1 out. There's that 2-strike hitting, and Nolan, he's been as good as anybody in the sport in 2018.
This is what makes Nolan so good. With 2 strikes, he can shorten up. It's very rare to see Nolan swing and miss. This pitch is up in the zone. It's almost like the pitch does the work for you if you can put the bat on the ball. Now you have Trevor, as hot as he's been.
And I hate to sound like a broken record, but you're all thinking the same thing at home. Spilly, you're thinking the same thing. You got to get this run home.
This one has to get in.
There's been too many left on base, not only on this trip, but get that 4th run. And they need to get up the line. If your Story out at first base. And Trevor's such a tough guy to double.
Trevor's shaking out his legs down the baseline. I'm wondering if he tweaked anything as he's lunging out to beat the throw. It looks like it's close. They're going to look at it.
You got nothing to lose.
You have nothing to lose. Trevor, after running past the bag, I watched him shake out his left leg a couple times. And
we've seen him do that, and every time he does that, you and I go into clubhouse at some point after and go, hey, you all right? And it's always, yeah, I'm fine. Hopefully that's the case here. Let's watch again. As soon as it touches leather, freeze it. Not yet, not yet. Love it.
I think it's safe.
I think he may have beaten that.
Let's hope so. This run is huge for the Rockies. Huge. That'll make 18 RBIs against the Brewers this year. Call him safe. Safe.
Safe. Run scores. The great wheels of Trevor Story. He gets his 4th RBI of the day. He owns all the runs for the Rockies, and it's 4-1.
There's very few people in baseball that run this well. I mean, that's a tailor-made double play for the Brewers to get out of it.
Spilly, 95, 97% of the league. That's a 6-4-3.
Right.
Inning over.
Inning over. Now the Rockies get one more swing with Carlos Gonzalez too. He can tag on another one. Trevor can beat you so many ways.
5-tool kid. Really 6 tools because of his competitiveness. I mean, makeup. Here's the 6th tool. Makeup, competitiveness, toughness, desire, passion. He's got all of that. Not to mention, he's now hitting for average. You know, the power, defensive wizardry, plus arm, great speed.
He might just shorten up your lead.
Yeah, you want to give Cargo a chance to swing the bat here, because with Cargo and your speed, you're in scoring position right now.
Yeah, you don't want to get picked off after he just took some momentum away from the Brewers. And Trevor gets another big lead.
Man, that's a big run.
It's huge.
Watching Adam Ottavino, he's standing on the mound in the bullpen, but he's like all of us. He's just watching right now. He's watching and he hopes Cargo hits him a baseball. Standing next to Darren Holmes. He's out there in extreme right center field. Hit me one.
Hit another one into the Brewers bullpen. That was fun.
Yeah.
Either way.
Hit it in somebody's bullpen.
For a hitter, this could take a hitter out of the rhythm, trying to stay locked in on pitch location, and after 4 or 5 throws to first, your timing gets thrown off a little bit.
Oh, he takes off, and the throw goes to first, and Trevor swipes second. That was right out of the Ian Desmond playbook. I guess, by the way, Spilly, his legs are okay.
Trevor just going for it. He was hung out to dry. Let's take a look at that ball that Trevor hit, the potential inning-ending double play ball on the Subaru StatCast, so we can get a sense of how fast he's getting to first. 30.6 feet per second.
30's elite. 29 is really quick. 30's elite, and he was closer to 31 feet per second. Said it many times. The data backs me up on this. He is one of the 5 or 6 fastest guys in baseball. Cargo hits this ball in the air to shallow left. Braun will come on. He'll make the catch. We'll go to the bottom of the 9th inning. The Rockies tack on a run. Story owns all the ribbies, and the Rockies have a 4-1 lead on a Sunday at Miller Park. The top of the 9th inning for Trevor Story to score DJ LeMahieu. The Rockies leading 4-1 after 8 brilliant innings from John Gray. The Rockies will ask Adam Ottavino, who has been terrific this year, to get the final 3 outs. He'll have Moustakas, he'll have Shaw, and he'll have Ryan Braun. 3, 4, and 5 this afternoon in Milwaukee's lineup. It'll be appearance number 51 for Otto. And he's been in this situation not only in the past, but he's been asked to get some saves this year. And he is perfect. He is 4 out of 4 this year in saves. First pitch, a strike. If a real quick footnote on the StatCast. Story up the line there in 30.6 feet per second. Sliders hit pretty well to right. And it's gone.
Back.
Now it's a 2-run game as Mike Moustakas hits it out. That's his first home run in a Brewer uniform.
The Brewers certainly don't go away very easily. And for Ottavino, this is just a flat slider, center and up. Again, it's why that run in the top of the 9th inning so important for the Rockies. Still have a 2-run cushion.
He goes right back to that slider, and he gets a strike on Shaw. Shaw, a solo home run in the 2nd, the other run for Milwaukee. And he's ahead 0-2 to finish that theme. Trevor Story up the line at 30.6, and it forced the review, and the Rockies got the run. Usain Bolt, fastest guy any of us have ever seen, 33.9 feet per second. Gives you a little perspective, right?
Yeah, it does. But then if you still picture Usain Bolt racing Trevor Story, Bolt's beating him by 10, 11 feet.
Well, he beat everybody else who are sprinters and the fastest in the world by those margins and more. 0-2 on Shaw. 2-run game now. Outside with the fastball. This is the last lefty that he'll have to deal with. Braun is after Shaw, and then Scope. 1-2. That's fair. And Otto, oh boy. That tells me, tells everybody else, he didn't want to throw the ball overhand. He's like a lot of pitchers, unfortunately. They get the thing when they have to throw the baseball. That's the longest underhand throw I've ever seen, period, at any level. Fortunately, he got the out.
Swinging bunt by Travis Shaw. Here's how far Ottavino underhands it. It's about 45 feet.
I've never seen that. Still, you may be kind. It may be closer to 60 feet.
That's a corn toss.
1 out, and here's Braun. Two singles and 3 at bats for Braun. It took a special play by Nolan Arenado to end the 6th inning to keep Braun from driving in a run and keep him from being 3 for 3. Fastball's loud and in the zone, 1-1. You want every win That's not realistic, but the Rockies, in the worst way, need a W here. Trying to snap a 4-game losing streak.
Oh, they're going to call catcher's interference on Tom Murphy.
And now the tying run will come up. Instead of a 1-2 pitch after that foul ball, Murphy evidently got too far underneath.
Yep, there it is.
And that is scored E2. Nothing easy this week for the Rockies. Scope's 0 for 3.
And Ryan Braun will steal. We'll take the Rockies out of double play depth. And it guarantees the Brewers will get 2 more shots with their batters.
Yeah, you hate that. You hate to make it that easy. But Otto is easier to run on because it takes him a while to uncoil to the plate. One and one. After Scope, Kratz, the catcher. Now, would they hit Manny Pena? You would think they probably would. Two and one. Good slider, foul tip. It's 2-2. This is advantage Ottavino. The Scope hasn't seen Adam. Two balls, 2 strikes. Got him. Strike 3. 2 outs. And it will be Kratz, who started this year in the Yankees organization. He's playing in AAA in the Yankees organization when Milwaukee acquired him in May.
Kratz with 3 home runs on the season. 2 of them have come against right-handed pitching. He's actually hit better right-handers versus left-handers.
Pop out, deep fly ball to right, and a line drive to right. He actually made good contact, 2 out of 3 ABs. First pitch strike.
The last pitch to Jonathan Scope was Ottavino's best located fastball. He's been struggling a little bit last week with fastball command, but the slider's always been there for him. That's a good one.
That thing made a left turn just inside. Kratz has 1 at bat in his career against Ottavino. He's 0 for 1. Two outs. Braun at second. Here's the 1-1. 1-2.
See Otto looking down after that slider. He didn't like the location of it. Stayed a little flat for Ottavino's liking. He wants a downward biting slider.
Here's where hitters, right-handed hitters especially, are really in a pickle when he gets ahead 0-2-1-2, because that fastball, which is 93 to 95, we've seen it as high as 96, it works the opposite direction of that slider, and it locks guys up like a moment ago Jonathan Scope.
But if you're also a right-handed hitter, and I know that because he doesn't throw it inside, I could look for that fastball and fire on it, knowing that it might run back. Just have to make sure your location is key.
Here we go, 1-2, 2 outs on Kratz. He went fastball, but he yanked it, and it's 2-2. Got to assume he goes back to his bread and butter. One of the 3 sliders he'll throw.
It's again, Ottavino, you can see his reaction. He's not liking the movement of his slider.
A little more roll than bite.
Just kind of staying flat.
4-2 Colorado, bottom of the 9th inning. Another 2-2.
Kratz is putting together a pretty good at-bat against Ottavino with 2 strikes.
One of those baseball weeks where you're on the edge of your seat every night. Here's the 2-2 again. He went, ball gets away, and Kratz will reach. You gotta be kidding me. Strikeout, wild pitch. And now the winning run potentially comes up in Arcia.
The Rockies are making it as hard as they possibly can on themselves. There's the good downward action on the slider. Murphy went for the backhand versus just using his body to block it. You give the Brewers a free base runner with the catcher's interference, and then you add another one. And this is a very good ball club. Brewers have taken advantage of a lot of miscues from the Rockies in the first 2 games.
Arcia 0 for 2 and a walk today. Ground out, pop out. 24th pitch now for Ottavino. Good slider. That was tight. 0-1.
Well, if anything, Ottavino found his slider bite on that last pitch to Kratz.
Well, this happened against St. Louis in this situation. Bader at first took off, stole second. Not likely with Kratz. He's not going anywhere. No swing, 1-1. This is a nice, comfortable 9th inning you were hoping for, especially with a 3-run lead. One and one on Arcia. For a moment, I thought that was going to be another comebacker. And Adam was going to race Orlando Arcia before he flipped it underhand. 1-2. Otto ready, ahead, 1 ball, 2 strikes. Line drive, left field, base hit. Kratz is going to go to third, and going to second is Arcia. It's 4-3. Got to slide her up.
There's a slider up. 2 strikes. Arcia just puts the ball in play. Now I understand why Gerardo wants to throw him out at third base because Kratz is a slow runner, but it's an ill-advised throw. That allows Arcia to get to second base, and now you have the winning run.
And it'll come down potentially to Ottavino against Hernan Perez, who's pinch hitting in the 9th spot. And that slider, again, not the A slider you typically see from Otto.
Nope.
He gets ahead 0-1. Rockies looking for that elusive 27th out in what has been a most difficult week. Whoa, and that's going to tie up the game. I'm watching this and I can't believe it.
Ottavino just doesn't have his best command today. This one just gets completely away from Tom Murphy, set up on the outside part of the plate. Now you got all kinds of problems right now.
The bunt goes foul. An interesting idea from Perez. If that stays in fair territory, it's going to be game over.
He just watched Adam Ottavino throw a baseball. I didn't think this week could get any worse.
1-2. We'll go extra innings. Unbelievable. Rockies had a 4-1 lead 15 minutes ago. after blowing a 3-run lead. They'll have to try to win it in extra innings. Brewers have been to extra innings now 13 times. 4-4 as we go to the 10th. And the Rockies will see the closer for Milwaukee, Corey Knebel. Rockies had to get 4 outs last inning because of the game would have been over. They struck out Kratz and the ball wasn't blocked and it went all the way to the screen. And then you have a wild pitch that ends up tying up the game. Here's Desmond. Desi is 0 for 4 in the game. You thought you'd seen everything earlier in the week. And then the bottom of the 9th happened. But you got to move on. Still a chance to win this thing.
Well, the Brewers have the momentum. And the Brewers have a bullpen right now that's feeling pretty good about themselves. Several of their guys have been pitching extremely well.
Well, after Knebel, it's going to drop off. They've used Hader, and Jeffress, and Soria already in the game. The Rockies have O. They have Davis probably. They want to stay away from him, but if this thing gets protracted or if the Rockies can take the lead, it'd be interesting whether it is O or Davis or Oberg. Let's not forget about Oberg. Right now you have Oberg and O in the pen. 1 out. Think about that run that the Rockies extracted at the top of the 9th inning on the review of what Milwaukee was hoping was an inning-ending 6-4-3 double play, but Story beat the throw, and that enabled LeMahieu to score. Otherwise, Milwaukee's throwing Gatorade around the field right now. 3rd at bat for Parra. Came in the middle of the ball game, a ground out and a walk. Line shot off the glove of Moustakas, and he recovers in time.
Parra puts a good piece of the wood on the baseball. Moustakas playing off the line, positioned nicely. It's just a reactionary play for Moustakas. After gathering, still has enough time because of how hard the ball was hit to throw out Gerardo. Maybe David Dahl will be a hero. Called earlier today. Dahl had quite the travel day. Having to catch several flights to get here on time.
Three 3-0 on Dahl.
Well, you have Dahl pinch hitting for Murphy. Pitcher spot on deck. Ryan McMahon is going to be that pinch hitter. If Dahl is able to reach, Knebel is also slow to home plate. So if Dahl can reach, that stolen base threat is available for the Rockies.
3-2. David had a 2-homer game a couple of days ago down in Albuquerque. Three and two. And there is ball 4. So speed to first. And the next pinch hitter, as Billy mentioned, will be Ryan McMahon.
We've seen a good swing from Ryan McMahon since getting recalled.
And aggressive early in counts.
And he's been able to catch up to fastballs. Knebel has the biggest fastball out of the Brewers bullpen. McMahon has also taken some quality at bats as a pinch hitter in the last week that we've seen him.
Derek Johnson.
Dahl's still trying to get loose at first base. See if he has his wheels ready to steal second if need be.
Billy, I'm sure you did that a few times in your career where you pinch ran late and you've been watching the game. Maybe you went in the tunnel and you were swinging the bat because you were coming off. But other than New City Field at home, where they have actually it's more than 90 feet. It looks like a baseline where guys can run underneath. Most stadiums don't have that. How do you get your legs ready?
You don't.
And even these new modern fancy billion-dollar edifices.
Yeah, you don't. Your legs are never fully loose coming off the bench.
You could go in the cage and, you know, at least run.
You're running 30 feet.
Yeah, exactly. It's something. There goes Dahl. Big jump. And the throw didn't get him.
They said this was huge. This was an important at bat for David Dahl to get on base because it provided, with Corey Knebel being slower to the plate, an opportunity for David to steal. And he runs on a curveball. It's called a strike. That's a flat steal from Dahl. Keeps his hand on the base. It's taking a long time.
Yeah,
now
they're going to look at it. Adrian Johnson had walked over to Craig Counts and said, hey, you got to make a decision. Pat Murphy, the bench coach, was on the phone. And again, this appeared to be Dahl beating the tag, foot on the bag. Does it stay on the, oh, you got a hop but a hand. That's the thing. You had a hop with the foot, but the hand.
He stays on there.
As we frequently mention, the key a lot of times is because we'll get, you know, an email from New York and it says the call stands, not confirmed, and the call was safe on the field. So there has to be a preponderance of evidence that he came off, and I don't think you see any there. Foot's on the bag, hand on the bag. Umpires take a lot of pride. I know they have the parachute in New York with the review. They take a lot of pride, a great deal of pride, in getting it right the first time, which they do, you know, 97, 98% of the time. That's a bang-bang play at second, and Trip Gibson, just want to compliment him. He was on it. That's not easy.
No, it's not. This review's taking a lot longer than I expected, so I'm curious if they have an angle we don't see. Safe.
So Dahl at second with 2 outs, and Ryan McMahon will come up. .44, top of 10. I shouldn't have said come up. He was already at the plate, obviously. So it's now a 2-strike count on McMahon.
Shorten up, put it in play. Find a way. That's what the Brewers did. There you go. Rockies 1 for 11 today with runners in scoring position.
McMahon should be comfortable in knowing, Spilly, he's going to get a fastball because that's what Knebel does best. There's a runner in scoring position. And the book, it's a young book on McMahon, is that he has struggled a little bit with plus fastballs.
But it's also why that first pitch curveball to McMahon was thrown in there, because it throws off the hitter. He had to file away that pitch.
They want fastball up. That'll end the inning. He struck him out at 97. Dahl, who walked and stole second, is left out there. We'll go to the bottom of the 10th inning, 4-4. And the Brewers caught him with a little bit of shoddy defense from the Rockies. They gave him 4 outs. There was a catcher's interference in there, and there was also a strikeout of Kratz, which would have been the final out of the game. And the ball was not blocked, unfortunately, by Tommy Murphy. So now it'll be Scott Oberg trying to get this game to the 11th inning, and it's the top of the order with Christian Yelich, Eric Thames, and Mike Moustakas. Sliders high, ball 1. 1 for 4 tonight for Yelich. Ground ball to right field. Past the diving Ian Desmond.
Whenever you're on the field on defense, especially when you're going through a week like this, you have that feeling, oh no, here we go again. And you have to push that out. You can't let those negative thoughts creep in. You have to maintain focus. You have to maintain confidence that you're going to find a way out.
Yelich can run a little bit. Thames, big power, but a double play candidate. Yelich, 13 stolen bases. He's been caught just twice. Actually, it's 14 because he had one earlier in the ball game. Think about that ninth inning again. The one reliable guy all year long, the guy who should have been an all-star, Adam Ottavino, he's the one victimized. 2-0. They can't pitch away from contact either.
No, and you're going right through the teeth of this Brewers lineup. With all the matchups in the Brewers' favor.
James got off a big swing.
That was a healthy cut.
That was a violent cut on a pitch that was up around his belt. We have not mentioned this, but the Rockies, this has happened a few times this week, unfortunately. They waste a spectacular start from John Gray. 1 run in 8 innings, 8 strikeouts. He allowed just 4 hits. This is in the air, playable in right field for Cargo. Out number 1 in the 10th. And that'll bring up Moustakas, who began the 9th inning with a home run. But even at that point in time, he said, okay, you know, 4-2. Shaw followed. He grounded out right back to the box. Ottavino underhand toss to first, 1 gone. And then Braun, who would have been behind 1 and 2, reached on catcher's interference. Scope would strike out. So you're 1 out away, still up 2 runs. Up the middle, this could be 2 still. And it will.
Nice.
Great job by Trevor Story. A piece of that will be credited because I think it got part of Oberg. 163. Miley was rolling until Trevor Story tagged him for a 3-run home run, his 4th home run of the series. Trevor would drive in a run in the 9th inning. It's 4-1. And then Ryan Braun would reach on catcher's interference. And this should have been the final out of the game. It was strike 3, but the ball wasn't blocked on a slider in the dirt. And then the base hit by Arcia and a wild pitch. That one tied up the game. Here's Charlie, and a ground ball to second. And Charlie now 0 for 5 in the ball game. 1 out in the 11th, and that'll bring up LeMahieu.
Second inning of work now for Corey Knebel. 17 pitches, very efficient, but there is a letdown of adrenaline for, now granted it wasn't a closing situation for Knebel, but they feel different running in from the bullpen, having to sit down for a half inning. You're hoping he makes a couple mistakes in this half inning.
The Rockies have left 11 on base in this game. You would assume Oberg will go back out there. Threw only 7 pitches. Two 2-0 on DJ. He's been on 3 times, actually 4 times today. Reached on a fielder's choice. 2-1. Three and 1 with Nolan on deck. Three and 2. Looking at the box score, Spilly, the Rockies have not had consecutive hits in this game.
I don't think the Rockies have had consecutive hits in this series.
Well, I just checked. The only time they did was in the 9th inning yesterday. LeMahieu strikes out.
All right, they had 4 consecutive hits against Matt Albers.
Nolan 2 hits and a walk today. Outside, it's 2-0 on Arenado. Colorado trying to snap a 4-game losing streak. Great July. It's been a rough start to August. 0-4 in August. And now 3-0. The last guy Craig Counsell and all the Milwaukee fans want to see is on deck. That's inside, but it's called a strike. 3-1. There's Trevor. He's driven in all the runs today. He drove in all the runs yesterday. The Rockies have scored 11 runs in this series. Trevor Story has driven in 9 of them. The other 2, the 2-run home run from Carlos Gonzalez. That was Friday night. 3-2. High fly ball to deep left field. This one may have a chance, and it is gone. The Rockies take the lead 5-4 on a towering home run from Nolan, his 29th of the year.
How huge is that?
Huge. You know what Nolan thought of it.
Fastball in, he clicks it. Nolan just body Englishing, making sure that it stays fair. It's a great swing, great side view.
Boy, he got the barrel out, and that went as high as it went far. Not quite like old Tiger Stadium, Spilly, but that deck out there in left field, at least from here visually, almost hangs over the field. Not quite. Braun went over there thinking he may have a play.
Well, that home run, according to the MLB at Bat app, stayed in the air for 6.4 seconds, reached an apex of 155 feet.
It's 15 stories up.
That's a big fly.
And a strikeout, a Story will end the inning. Song-Wan-Oh, after that ball went out, got up and is throwing, so he may be asked now to get the save. 5-4 Colorado, going to the bottom of the 11th. By Nolan Arenado, the second time in his career he's hit an extra inning home run. He leads the National League with 29, and here's the Subaru StatCast. Billy said it went 155 feet in the air. Off the bat at 104 miles an hour. His teammates loved it. Big, emphatic bear hug from Carlos Gonzalez. And now it'll be up to Song-Wan-Oh to get 3 outs It'll be Travis Shaw, it'll be Ryan Braun, it'll be Jonathan Schoop for the Brewers. Shaw, a home run back in the second to give Milwaukee a 1-0 lead. O has 2 saves this year with Toronto. In 2017, he had 20 saves with the Cardinals. In 2016, he had 19 saves with the Cardinals. This is not unfamiliar territory. And a base hit. You didn't think it'd be easy, did you?
Of course not.
The good news, said this with Ottavino, is that there's now a group of right-handed hitters coming up. And O this year has been really good against righties, and lefties have victimized him some. Batting average over 300 against lefties. But against righties, he's been pretty strong. Righties have hit just 165, real strong. Lefties 305. Braun, 2 for 4. Actually 2 for 3. His last at bat is not an at bat. The catcher's interference.
Travis Shaw has attempted to steal 3 times this year, has 1 where he's made safely. Tony Wolters behind the plate now. It's the Rockies' best catcher at throwing out would-be base runners.
That misses, 1-1. In the air and playable for Charlie. And that's the first out in the 11th, with the Rockies ahead 5-4. That's a big one, especially the way Braun has swung the bat. Now the struggling Jonathan Schoop, 0 for 4 today. 1 for his brief Milwaukee career. He's coming over from Baltimore at the trade deadline. That's going to die in front of Charlie for a base hit. Shaw to second. So the winning run at first, 1 out. After that bloop single, it'll be Eric Kratz again.
This is the type of game that gives you gray hairs, and Bud Black, you're just hanging on. This is a roller coaster ride.
Oh, and 1. Song-Hwan Oh in his 5th Rockies appearance. His first 4 have been good. 0-2. Orlando Arcia is on deck.
I mentioned 398 professional saves for O between Major League Baseball and Korea and Japan. He has been in these situations many times before.
2 strikes. Good block by Tony, textbook. 1 and 2. O trying to work the bottom of that strike zone. O is far more of a fly ball pitcher, typically. Well, obviously, if he can get one on the ground here, Pratt's an easy guy to double. But he's produced this year, just 1 ground ball double play. Maybe this is 2. Good feed there, back to first. Safe.
What a play by O. This is very easily could have gone into the Brewers dugout.
Which would have tied up the game.
It would have tied up the game.
See, they're going to challenge. Buddy's just come out. He said, we want to take a look at it.
He wants to make sure that Scope stayed on the base. Or maybe it was O at first. Pay attention. O gets to the bag, finds it, keeps his foot on it. Oh, now it comes down to if you think.
Well, did the right hand touch? Did Kratz's right hand touch the bag?
If Kratz's right hand touches the bag, he's safe, but the left one's slow getting there. Thought maybe the Rockies might have an argument with Scope at second. That wasn't it, clearly.
And it really, well, the left hand.
All right, let's see, right? That's in his glove.
That's in his glove. Left hand's not on the bag. The right hand, from that vantage point, this one should tell.
Yeah!
Out, ball game over.
Oh my gosh.
Colorado, you can breathe again.
Look at the hugs from the guys at the mound.
This has been a week of torture. And
Look at
the
the
Rockies,
smiles of relief.
It's not smiles of joy right now. It is, as you said, smiles of relief. O does a fantastic job, as you said, to save it from going to the dugout. But, oh, by the way, he stayed on the bag. And Kratz's right hand never touched the bag, and the left hand was late. Rockies win 5-4-11 after giving up 3 with 2 outs in the bottom of the 9th. Wow.
Happy flight.
Oh.